about that for a bit of drama. And now look at that table. Mexico top on 6 points. Germany now joining Sweden on 3 points, which means that final round of match as well. It's very, very interesting looking now. South Korea playing Germany and Mexico against Sweden. So, look, we've all just about caught our breaths here after that. And Didi, you must be relieved at the most.
Yeah, relieved, I think, is the right word. It was nerve-wracking. He got himself back with an equaliser. A few half chances. You just felt that the Swedes are doing enough to hang on and get a draw. Then you get a man sent off. And you've got to say that, yeah, they showed great character. Threw everything at Sweden, and then a piece of magic from Toni Kroos, who had a very disappointing game again. Lost the ball for the goal. Very loose in possession, something we don't really see from him when he plays for Madrid. And I think character got him through today. How far character gets you, I'm not too sure. But I think they're in a very good position, because if they win by 2 goals against South Korea, they go to the next round. Yeah. No, I couldn't. After the first half, I don't think you could have asked for more. It'll give them a huge boost. But I still think there's a lot of questions about the team.
Yeah, OK, well, that's for sure. But Liam, let's celebrate for the moment. What a beautiful piece of magic that was to win a game, wasn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And it showed his character. Yeah. You know, he fancied the shot. He obviously said to Royce, you just stop it there, I'm going to go for the bender. Like, to do that in the final minute of the game showed real character from Kroos and real leadership. He took it on himself. A lot of players would have just chipped that into the box and hoped for the best, but no, he backed his own ability, and they deserved it. I think they deserved it. I think the coach deserved it. Stephen Alkin said in commentary that when they're sending off, that he may bring Sully on, is it?
Sully, yeah.
Sully on, another central defender. He didn't even think about it. He knew a draw. Love knew a draw was absolutely no good to them, and he put on another attacker, and the attacker did well. Brandt very nearly scored, hit the post. Gomez, wonderful save from Olsen, maybe should have scored with the header, but it was no more than they deserved, I think. They showed their characters, they showed their guts. As Didi said, don't know whether they're good enough, particularly in the forward line. Werner is a game lad, he runs around, but technically he hasn't got that finesse. Gomez, Muller had a poor game, so in the forward line they looked to be struggling, but they came out on top, and they deserve enormous credit because they never stopped.
If Liam says they deserve it, Keith, all of ye, the celebrations in the studio almost, I mean, maybe it's because we all wanted Germany to be still alive in this tournament, and they've given us some magic here.
I think with certain underdogs you can appreciate a good story, and I think we would all respect the way that Sweden set up as a team and how dogged and resilient they are, because technically they're not very good. They haven't got marquee players, they haven't got very talented players. Where with this German team, they have kept going. I think they're struggling all over. Liam's meant about the attacking areas. I think defensively, we're going to touch on it a little bit later. They just look like a squad and a team that is really struggling. But that may well be the catalyst just to kickstart it all.
Yeah, well, we shall see. We've got so much to pick over in this game. Germany have won. Well, what a day of drama we've had here in Sochi. Toivonen's goal gave Sweden the early lead, but then the equaliser coming soon after. It was such a moment of madness, really, in so many ways. Germany back in the game, though, from that one. And then what a winner we had here from Toni Kroos. 93rd minute winner, and Germany are still in this competition. Well, look, let's take a look at some of the analysis from this game. And, Keith, we were looking at a draw for quite a while in that game. Germany's first goal here in this game, you're going to take us through this one.
Well, they started the second half very much in the same fashion they started the first half, with a real intent. Werner started on the left-hand side, and he was very prominent in the second half from this position. Just direct, positive play. They get good fortune, but they earn it because they're flooding the box with numbers. This is something they weren't doing against Mexico. Royce gets into the danger area. You get into those areas, you earn your luck. It comes off his knee. We're going to get a good angle of it now. As it comes up, flick off Gomez, trickles past Olsen in the Swedish goal. Like I've already said, you get into those areas time and time again. You ask questions of the opposition, you're going to get that little bit of luck at times.
So that's Germany putting themselves back in the game. And Liam, you've already eloquently described this, the winner, but yourself and Didi here as well. I don't even know if I can paint the picture of emotion that I saw on your face, Didi, as this ball went into the net.
Yeah, as I said straight away, it's probably too close to cross the ball. So I think this is, you know, games are decided by details. And I think what made the goal in the first place is how they took that free kick. They takes a touch, Roy stops it, and then he's only got one thing in his mind. He's got to bend it into the far top corner. Perfectly executed, but a great decision, as I said, because I think it would have been too close to the goal to cross the ball for maybe somebody to head. And
that would have been an easy way out, wouldn't it, Didi? You know, and you have to have the character, you have to have the personality. I'm sure he said to Royce, "You just stand there, give me a bit more of an angle to bend this one in, and cometh the hour, cometh the man." Like he is a class player. He's Real Madrid. He's a top midfield player. He didn't have a great game tonight, but he took that shot on when he needed to.
I think that makes it be even more remarkable after a very average or below average game in the first game, and then today again he gives the goal away. He makes a mistake for the goal they concede, and then to have the guts and the courage to say, you know, I take it on. You know, hats off to him, and yeah, what a huge goal it could turn out to be.
How does it compare, Keith, to the equaliser that Ronaldo scored against Spain? Because everybody's talking about great goals in the tournament, the composure, the leadership. Where do you rank that one?
Well, the angle is tougher. The circumstances are more drastic for a German point of view because Ronaldo's goal was in the first game. There's more room for error. Germany were in such a precarious position there. And I'm with the lads in terms of his performance levels, and we've touched on the leadership or lack of it within that German team. That's leadership. That is absolute leadership. Leadership is going around screaming and shouting at players. That's gone out the window now. That's old-fashioned. That is taking the game by the scruff of the neck and to show that bravery, because we've just said off camera, if that goes 2-3 yards past the post, that's bit, everyone's gone, why didn't you put it in the box? So he's shown a lot of character.
The other thing, Liam, that I saw is the celebrating that they did together. You know, you were wondering about, are they together? What sort of a group are they? A goal like that is the kind of thing that's going to bring them together.
No, I don't think you could question their character tonight. Maybe Boateng. We're going to do a little bit of on him later on. He wasn't at the races tonight. He made a lot of mistakes. But the character of most of the German side was very, very sound. They kept going. They didn't look like they were going to get the look because the Swedish defence, yeah, let's hand it to them. They're big, strong lads. They put their body on the line. They stopped crosses. They stopped shots. But the German team kept going, and they were very unlucky when Brandt hit that post, weren't they? That could have gone in. As I said, Olsen made a great save from Gomez, and they deserved it. No, 100% deserved it.
It is the latest winning goal in World Cup history. If that didn't already give you a heart-stopping moment there, Didi.
No, it was brilliant. And as you said, sometimes when you win, it can paper over the cracks. Obviously, we saw only a fraction of the whole picture, so we don't actually know if everybody was celebrating, because it would have been interesting to see whether Ozil made the 20 or 30 yards from the bench to the crowd of German players to celebrate with them. And you just hope that it galvanises them and say, come on lads, we're here now, let's make the most of it, because you only get the chance every 4 years in the World Cup. It is the biggest tournament. My worry moving forward now is that in Gundogan you had a player today, I think you saw his confidence is shot to bits. So I don't think we see him in the next game against South Korea, and I'm not sure whether we see him in the tournament, because he was a shadow of his former self, the way we know him from Manchester City. And then I think it's very hard to bring Ozil back now, because the team showed character, the team functioned. You know, if you look at the result, because of the...
They moved the ball quicker, didn't they, Didi? Yeah. I thought they moved the ball quicker. So we showed at half-time that they were making runs in behind. They persevered, they moved. They made a lot of chances, Jackie.
Yeah, let's have a look at some of those chances, Liam, because they did actually show us a bit of that.
They did, and there was a bit more urgency, obviously, in the second half. They needed to, because you needed at least one, maybe two goals. And right from the word go, there's a shot by Toni Kroos. They moved the ball quicker, and we know how hard it is to break the Swedish team down. And also, I think Werner did ever so well on the left-hand side, better than he did in the forward position. He caused problems with his pace. This is a great ball in. Royce tries to backheel it, just misses the ball. And again, this is what was lacking in the first game. Somebody who stretches teams. Again, Timo Werner with his pace gets away from the defender. So, yes, they tried, and they asked the Swedish team, they asked him questions, which they only did for 10 minutes in the first half. And eventually they tired them out, and with a bit of magic, this was the best chance. Gomi's got to do better. From a centre forward, 6-7 yards out, not really challenged. It's a pretty free header. I think he's got to do better. And this was again, Brandt, when he came on, he had an impact on the game. This is why you bring players on, because you want them to make a difference when things are not working out. And he's a touch lucky the way that the ball bounces up. But what a strike with his left foot on the half volley. Very unfortunate not to score.
Yeah. I think all those shots and chances demonstrates clearly that they deserve to go through.
Yeah, yeah.
Despite how brave Sweden were.
That's the good then, because you mentioned Boateng as well there, Liam, and Keith, you're going to look at his performance as well tonight, because, I mean, this maybe is the other side of Germany.
Well, I've been critical of Boateng in a Bayern Munich shirt this year. Alarm bells don't go off early enough. Was very fortunate not to give a penalty away. This was in the first half against Berg. This is the first yellow. 11 minutes later, he then gets the second. When you're on a yellow card, you cannot go in for a challenge like that. You really can't. You can see it on his face. He's pleading with the referee. For me, I said it last weekend against Mexico, he looks overweight, he looks sluggish, he doesn't look like he's match fit. The 25th of April was his last game for Bayern Munich against Real Madrid in the Champions League. Wind on, he's at 45 minutes in the build-up to this against Saudi Arabia, and I think it's telling. Last week he didn't get the protection from the midfielders. Kimmich was playing as a right winger for the vast majority of the game. He looks very, very vulnerable, and he would be a worry for me.
He has a habit of the moment of taking the ball out from defence. Germany are obviously going to dominate possession, but he's coming into midfield and he's taking chances with his passes, and he's leaving his defence vulnerable to the counter-attack. We saw that against Mexico, and we saw it again tonight. So that actually might work in their favour to get him out of the team. And if Hummels is back fit,
the problem is if Hummels isn't fit, I mean, that's a vertebrae injury that he has. You'd wonder if he can't play and they don't have Boateng either, what do they do at the back then?
Yeah, you've got Rüdiger, you've got Süle. Somehow you've got to manage. In a tournament, you need all the players. That's why I've got a squad of 23. These are all good players. Süle had a very good season for Bayern Munich when he played. He's the understudy to the two other guys. Rüdiger is a Chelsea player. You've got to use these guys, and sometimes you only find out how they respond to the pressure or to situations like this when they do play. So I wouldn't be too worried, because I think Hummels and Boateng looked fragile in the first game. I don't think they were very stable at the back today. If they can't play, if Hummels can't play, I wouldn't have a problem with Süle and Rüdiger, because, I think they shouldn't do any worse than what we've seen so far in the first two games.
Is this enough to convince you, Liam, that they are tournament contenders?
No, winners, no. You can never write the German team off, but I don't think they have enough quality in the forward line. I think Brandt might get a start against South Korea, but I think Muller's totally off form. I think Gomez is, he's getting on as well. So Werner, they've pinned a lot of hopes on this lad. He was lively, he was game, but I think he just lacks that finesse and that football intellect to see Germany as winners. I don't think they have enough in the forward line, Jackie.
So, Didi, I suppose tonight you'll get a chance to talk to friends and family at home. What will the reaction be in Germany tonight to this?
Well, I think they'll be delighted, because at half-time you thought even if you score one with a draw, you still rely on the Mexico-Sweden game, on the outcome of this. Now it's in our hands, and a huge second-half performance. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't flamboyant. They worked football rather than played in the first two games, but you need to find a way to get through, because one way or another you've got to try to get out of the group, and they're in a very good position, even though they haven't played well. How good are they moving forward? I'm not too sure, but once you're out of the group, I think in the knockout stage it'll suit them. And some of the performance, I think a lot will depend on Royce. I think he's the player who can take Germany deep into the tournament. He had a bit of cramp, I think, towards the end of the game. Delighted to get the 3 points, because there was a lot of disillusion around Germany in the days leading up to the tournament, and even more so after the first game. So I think people will be delighted. At the same time, we shouldn't forget there should have been a penalty for Sweden in the first half, could have been a sending off. So at times they did ride their luck, and at some stage, when they do get to the knockout stages, which I expect them to do now, they've got to get better, and they've got to play better to progress further in the tournament.
Didi mentioned riding their luck, Liam, and you do wonder with Yogi Löw, his legacy on the line there. Is he lucky, brave? I mean, how do you see him tonight?
I thought he was brave tonight, particularly with that substitution. You know, he didn't panic. He put another forward on. But he's got a team that's not in form. You know, Keith highlighted Boateng. Even Rudiger tonight was a bit shaky, I thought. The midfield, Gundogan, as Didi has told us, has got problems in Germany because of what he's done with the Turkish president. They're questioning, you know, his patriotism and his commitment. He looked nervous tonight. Khedira had an absolute nightmare in the first game. He was dropped. Ozil didn't play well at all in that first game. He's out of form. Muller, as we highlighted, for me, for a long time, if he doesn't score goals, he's not contributing. So they have problems in the team, but what they have is personality and character. And with that, they can still go deep into this competition. I think they need to win this group to avoid possibly Brazil in the next knockout stages. If they get Brazil, well, I don't think we'll see what happened in the World Cup 4 years ago when they absolutely destroyed them.
Keith, do you think that they can win the group? Can they win that last game?
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, yeah. I think they should kick on from this. Players have to find... You mentioned about Yogi Löw, was he brave? I thought he was absolutely brave in his team selection first and foremost. Then the bravery kicking on in terms of his substitutions. You can only do so much as a manager, as a head coach, in terms of tactically. It's very much dependent on the players going out and performing. They get into the right areas time and time again. The players are struggling. They are going through a little bit of a crisis in terms of confidence, maybe the togetherness. The Confederations Cup team of last year, some of those may well feel that they should be given a shot at the title, where the serial winners that have been there for 4, 6, 10 years, whatever it's been, since the senior players, maybe they don't feel they should be in ahead of them. And he's had to make some tough calls, because this is a group of players that he's obviously had for a long, long time. I expect him to win the last game. Whether that'll be enough to win the group, I'm not so sure, because Mexico have done very well so far.
Yeah, they have. And it's incredible, though, Didi. One result can turn everything. OK, both of you and all of you have said huge cracks to be papered over, maybe, and there is still a lot of things that they can work on. But all of a sudden, if they go and win the group, they avoid Brazil, they've got an easier path. And, you know, I guess you never know when it's knockout football.
Well, you could end up winning the group. And if Switzerland outscore Brazil in the last game, you may still face them if Brazil were to finish second in the group. So a lot of permutation, we don't know about it. But yes, you're right. I think if you go back in World Cup history, I think there's always been one game in a tournament where you say this was a turning point. We may as well have seen it. You know, if they were to go deep in the tournament, which I still got my doubts or huge doubts about it, you know, but we'll be looking back and say this was the goal that really galvanised their team and really put him back on track. And you can only do so much. You know, today, I think it'll give him huge belief as well, because I think leading up to this game today, I think they only won one game out of the last 7. So even though these are top-class players playing for the biggest clubs, if you go through a spell for a long time where you don't really play well and don't get the results, you start questioning yourself. And I think, you know, for morale, for confidence, for their self-belief, it would have done them the world of good, because at half-time, I don't think there were too many people who would have said, I fancy them to get 2 goals here. How they did it, I do not know, but they did. And I think that's the main thing, and this is why they're still alive.
Oh, to be in Mesut Ozil's head tonight, Keith, because how must he be feeling seeing them winning without him today and knowing that his position in the team he doesn't quite know?
Well, he started every single major game, every Championship, Euros, World Cup under Yogi Löw. So that will be one hell of a kick in the for Mesut Ozil, but it was the right call, in my opinion. They had to play with more energy. Diddy was crying out for Rice last week against Mexico, stuck by Draxler, who had a very good Confederations Cup last year. He felt what he felt was the right team to go with for this game. Ozil clearly didn't fit into that, and you can't say they missed him tonight. So where he comes back into this, when, how. Look, if a team is camped out and they have them on the edge of the box, like at times tonight against Sweden, I think he can be useful if he has clear runners and energy off that. But at times he's a luxury.